All right, guys, welcome back. Thanks for checking in. So today I wanted to bring you a little bit more information about the Skout Epoch PCP airgun. For about a year now, since I saw this at SHOT Show, I've been telling everybody this is going to be the most revolutionary gun in airgunning and is going to change the whole landscape, and I don't think I'm wrong. So today I have a bunch of pictures I'll show you, as well as some additional information that I've gleaned, as well as some intel that I got from Tom at High Pressure Pneumatics. He's got one of the best shops around. If you want to check him out, it's www.myhighpressureair.com. And anyway, so they came out with some more photos today, and I did get some from Tom as well, who did a factory tour. And I've been saying that the airgun industry is lagging behind paintball some 10 to 20 years lately, and I'll show you a couple reasons why. So number one, this gun is going to get a lot of its technology from paintball, and I'll go through that. Let's start at the grip. Alright, so the gun comes equipped with a circuit board that's going to control the firing, as well as an OLED screen, or an OLED screen, just like the DLX Luxe paintball markers do on the back of it. And the cool thing about this is it'll actually talk to you.
Powering on. Welcome to the Luxe experience. Battery level 80%. Firing mode NXL.
So again, this is some technology that we've had in paintball for 10 plus years. And here's a better view of that OLED screen on the back of that grip. So this is huge, guys, because this is going to be where you tune this gun for the most part. So you've got three tuning aspects to this gun. You've got your high pressure regulator pressure, which is going to be your operating pressure. You've got your low pressure reg, which is going to control the air to the solenoid, which cycles the, I guess I'll call it the bolt, because that's what it is in paintball. I'm not sure what the name will be on the Skout, but it's a spool valve, so you'll control that. I'll call it a tube or a bolt. And then you've got your dwell, and the dwell is the most important setting, and that's going to be done digitally through that circuit board that is displayed with that OLED there. And that's going to control the time that the LPR is cycling through that solenoid, because the board is connected to a solenoid. So it's basically, you could think of it as the same thing as basically like the time your valve is open on a poppet. That's dwell time too. So same concept here, except you're opening a spool valve. All right, and here is what the actual solenoid looks like. So I believe, and don't quote me on this, that they are the same solenoids that are in the DLX Luxe. And obviously, if you're a competitive paintball player, you're shooting like millions of rounds per year. So you don't really hear about solenoids ever really being replaced on these DLX Luxe paintball markers, and they are going to shoot way more rounds than you ever will with the airgun. So in my mind, that's pretty sweet, because you're probably never going to replace this part, but if you do, there are tons of them available. So that is basically going to cycle the air to the front and the back of the spool, and that's what's going to move and open that spool valve. So just thought that would be cool to show you. Controlling everything is an electronic trigger. You may be familiar with these from like the Daystate guns, although this gun is way more advanced than a Daystate gun. Daystates use like a clapper solenoid to just smack open a valve in place of a hammer, while this uses a whole different valve system, obviously a spool valve like I've said, but it's all controlled by this trigger. So this is going to be like a micro switch trigger, so you're going to get, I think it's like, you could have it be like between like 20 and 80 grams or something. It's like less than a mouse click. So you want to talk about match grade triggers, you're not going to get better than this. Keeping in mind, I don't have this gun in my hands, nor have I seen any diagrams or drawings for it. I'll still try to go through most of these parts. So here we have the transfer blocks. You could sort of think of this as like your transfer port. This is where the air is going to come from the open spool down the barrel. And then here we have the actual spool core, I think. That's going to move minimally, and just on that little bit of movement, it's going to open that valve and blast that air down the barrel. So you can see it sitting there in the transfer block. And again, I'm not 100% sure of anything here, but I believe that these are the LPR or HPR reg body assemblies. You can see the quality control is pretty good here on all of these. They all look exactly uniform, really good ano on them, looking pretty good. And then another thing about the regs is, instead of Belleville washers, which are really easy to lose and everything, they actually use a heavy-duty spring like this one here, which is similar to what you would see like in a modern Ninja paintball reg. So no losing Belleville washers, just one tuned spring. So that's pretty cool too. All right, so here's some of the bodies with the solenoids installed, and that's basically what it's going to look like when you strip it down a bit. Really good machining quality it looks like on these, so I'm pretty happy about that. All right, so this is where most of the magic happens. The knob on the left is your LPR, or your low pressure regulator. So that is mostly a set it and forget it. That's just going to be the pressure that operates the movement of the spool back and forth, thus opening the valve. The one on the right there is the HPR, or the high pressure reg, and that's just your operating pressure. So these guns, since they do use a spool valve, they're going to operate at a much lower pressure than normal PCPs, where a normal PCP is going to be between like 1500 and 3000 psi. These are probably going to be between 800 and 1500 psi or so. Don't quote me because I don't have mine yet. We could also see the fill nipple hanging there, standard fill nipple. Obviously, every manufacturer should be doing that. So I think they've done a pretty good job here. And Smart Parts, which is what Skout was in prior days, they've kind of been a pioneer in regulator design in paintball. So yes, that reg can adjust, the HPR and LPR can both adjust up and down against pressure. So that pretty much is 2/3 of your tuning, or maybe not even, because the dwell I would say is more important. And like I said before, the dwell will be through the circuit board. But that's where what your regulators look like and where you're going to adjust them. Okay, here is what looks like Mr. Gardner out there shooting the gun. They have a indoor covered 100-yard range, and I have heard from people who've been at the factory that these guns are impeccably accurate. Right now, they're only producing the pellet barrels for them, and they're working on the slug barrels, and I have heard that these barrels all have a NIB, or nickel boron coating, like you might see on an AR-15 bolt carrier group. Now, if you've ever cleaned a nickel boron bolt carrier group on an AR, the carbon wipes right off of it. Not like there's going to be carbon in an air gun, but still. And what's also cool about it is it's a light color, so if there's any debris or dirt or grease on that, you'll see it. But we're talking about the inside of a bore of a barrel, so you're probably not going to see that. But either way, it is a smooth coating and everything comes off of it, so I don't anticipate much lead buildup in that barrel. Okay, let's see what else I got for you guys. Here are the mags. So they are all aluminum magazines, which is awesome, super high quality looking. And they have quite a bit of a capacity too. So here are the internal drums, and it looks like these are all 30 caliber, and I counted the slots in them, and 22 rounds in 30, which is pretty dang impressive. So you can bet that 25 will have a few more, 22 will have a few more than that, and if they make a 177, it'll definitely have like infinity rounds in there. So very impressive, and guys who like to shoot a lot are going to be very happy with the large magazine sizes on these Skout Epoch guns. Couple more picks for you guys. So I have the bodies here. They look really good. Machining looks really good on them. Black is what they're doing now. I really, as an OG paintball player, wanted like a bonsai splash ano or something on there, but black anodizing is what you're going to get for now, so I think they look pretty good. And then here's the gun shooting down their indoor 100-yard range for some testing. And then we can see the gun from the other side, and that has, you can see the bolt handle sticking out there. And so while the spool valve does cycle back and forth with air from the low pressure regulator coming through that solenoid, you still do need to jack around into the chamber each time. So that's why you have to have the charging handle there. So pretty much just the same position as most of the competitive guns you see out there these days. And here we can see the gun on its side with the cocking lever open. So you sort of get a feel for kind of the location of it. It looks pretty ergonomically placed. Very similar to a lot of the higher end guns these days. So all in all, I am super stoked to get this gun hopefully soon, and I'm going to be taking it to the Northeast Airgun Challenge. It's going to be my first airgun competition. So while I'm no stranger to paintball and firearms competitions, this will be my first airgun competition, and it's about time because I've been shooting PCPs since like 2004. So while I don't expect to win this thing or anything, I hope I can at least come middle of the pack, and I think I have some equipment that's going to help me because I've got the Skout for the 100-yard bench rest, and I've got the FX Panthera coming for the PRS portion of the event. And we're just going to go and have a good time. So I don't have high hopes of winning or doing anything crazy, but if I do, awesome. But you know, maybe the real trophy is the friends we make along the way. So with that, hopefully this video was helpful to you guys, or at least entertaining. If you want to support my channel, I'll leave some links in the description and comments as always, just for basic stuff, shopping on Amazon, blah, blah, blah. All those purchases somewhat help the channel a little bit, and I refuse to monetize my channel and make you guys sit through commercials and stuff, so that's going to be the next best thing, so you can kind of help yourself while helping me out and giving me a little bit of a pellet stipend. So I do appreciate that, but I also appreciate you stopping by, so thanks for checking out the video, and we'll see you on the next one.